from Team Wilpers. Excited to welcome you to our Week 4 athlete briefing for the Team Wilpers Half Marathon Challenge. So we're working our way quickly through this. We're almost a third of the way through the whole program already. So congratulations for making it thus far, and I hope everyone is having an awesome Week 3. We're going to start, of course, with our Week 3 review here. So we continued to train aerobically, utilizing those striders to kind of break things up a little bit. Or for the overachievers out there, we included VO2 max interval this week, working above race pace, working on a little bit of extra power and efficiency in that first workout of the week. We had our progression run ranging our sub-threshold paces. So we're working very critical, very important paces like marathon pace, half marathon pace, etc. A lot of pace zones that are going to really impact our kind of planning on how to run this half marathon here in a handful of weeks. So a great workout here in the week. And then for a mini, we're going to have our long run still looking ahead for the weekend here. So our longest run of the build thus far, whether you were kind of already ahead or not, you should be still kind of building onto that and be your longest run thus far of the process here this weekend. So I think we're gonna have a little bit of a break in the weather, so it'll be a great opportunity to get outside, get some good, some nice miles, enjoy the sunshine hopefully this weekend. A little reminder, of course, to continue going into that website, checking that box and chasing that 100% completion percentage. It continues to be the best way to put yourself in a position to be successful is get those workouts completed. So make sure to check that box and stay accountable there. Now let's talk a little bit about week 4 and the week 4 workout. So this is our unloading week. For those who have been around, you might be very familiar with the process. For those that are new to us and our challenge structure here and or need a reminder, here's what we're looking at here in the week ahead. So in training, we're always trying to create specific adaptations by applying a specific load via the workout, or load, a stressor, etc. So we're trying to apply that load, create an adaptation in your body ultimately based upon what that load is. So part of this process, a very important part, obviously, is that loading period, the workouts themselves, the hard, difficult training, but part of that is the unloading. And so in the unloading periods, we're looking to reduce volume, we're looking to reduce intensity. And what we're ultimately really trying to do is make sure that your body is able, to recover from the previous 3 weeks of work, rest up a little bit, and get ready for this next loading block that's upcoming. So it's very difficult to just continually to progress week after week after week after week after week. For most people, it's actually impossible to kind of do that. So this mentions part of the process to take these kind of step backs in order so that you can push harder in the next block coming up. Where naturally we'll be extending the workout, increasing the difficulty, adding to the long run volume. Those are all things to look forward to in weeks 5, 6, and 7 here. So when I have athletes that are really nailing their training, these weeks really come as a bit of a reward. I know that that's how people are pushing themselves because they've stayed accountable to completing the workouts, they're doing the hard work, and this is just a little bit of a step back where they get to kind of refresh, recharge, and get ready for the next block here. It would be incredibly normal to feel a little tired, fatigued, sore, achy, mentally strained, etc. at the end of your 3-week loading block. So if you are feeling that way coming into this weekend, just know that's okay. There's an end in sight here, a little reprieve in the week ahead. And if you're not feeling that way, you might need to kind of reassess where your efforts are. Are you getting all your workouts in? Are you executing them at all the way to the full, like the kind of top level? And if so, wonderful, a great problem to have. You might need to look at increasing your paces a little bit as we come into the loading block following the unload week. So once again, great problem to have. So I want to jump into an important question that came up here. And the question is about fueling, and in particular, fueling for longer sessions. The question was, haven't done much running over 60 minutes. I understand we should start fueling during the run as run times get longer. Could you please provide some direction for when to start and what to try? It's a great question. It's going to impact most of us in this process, unless you're running the half in less than 60 minutes. And if so, congratulations. So caveat on this topic is that opinions are going to vary widely. And so these are my beliefs and opinions. So I typically have athletes start to focus on intra-workout nutrition for workouts that are 90 minutes and beyond. So the fuel tends to come in the form of carbohydrates. And in addition to being carbohydrate rich, it is both lacking in fiber and protein. And that's to make it as digestible as possible as part of the while working out here. So that doesn't mean that I would wait until 90 minutes to start that supplementing. However, the exact point of supplementation is going to be a little bit different based upon the total time of the exercise. But let's think about the race, the half marathon race in particular. So nutritional supplementation in general for a half marathon, thankfully, for better or worse for everyone, I'll actually say is a lower priority and kind of a low priority focus where most of us are not going to have to worry that much about it. And so why I say that is I'm going to kind of use the marathon as a juxtaposition. When we look at why people are supplementing in particular in the marathon, it's because there is a carbohydrate depletion state. So most of us can hold about 1,800 calories in form of carbohydrates, mostly in the form of glucose in our body and our muscles, etc. And most average, kind of a relatively efficient runner is going to run a mile in roughly 100 calories. So we're going to be a little bit different runner to runner on what that breaks down as. But quick math, 1,800 calories, roughly 100 calories a mile. You've got about, let's call it 18 miles of carbohydrate store just naturally baked into your body. So in the marathon, that leaves you about 8.25 short. Hence, in comes intra-workout fueling in order to try to cover that gap as best as possible. In the half marathon, we're looking at 13 miles. So we should, assuming that we've kind of done good prep in terms of taking in high quality carbohydrates, resting, etc., have enough nutrition, have enough calories in terms of carbohydrate in our body to be able to cover that gap. Similarly, fluid, which I think is probably the next biggest piece of this equation, most people that are coming in well hydrated really shouldn't have a problem where they need to supplement that much over the half marathon. If you're thirsty, if you feel like you want water, if you feel like you need water during the process, you absolutely should feel the ability to drink it, to take it in. There's nothing at all wrong with taking in fluids during a process of this duration, but there shouldn't be an issue where you necessarily need it unless it's a very hot day. Certainly we shouldn't go to a dangerous state there. So there's still a lot of reason why we do use nutritional supplementation during the process, but I wanted to set that stage a bit. So just so you can be thoughtful or about being not so thoughtful about it. I don't think you have to beat this up. I don't think you have to overthink it too much. So let's talk about why you would use it as part of the process here. Because I have no problem using it for half marathons. And as I mentioned, I'll recommend athletes, use intra-workout supplementation for workouts up 90 minutes and beyond. So when I think about the half marathon, one more time, the reason I would carry a gel during the race itself is, let's think about the composition of this gel. The gel is basically a full pack of straight sugar. So most of us during the race at some point are going to feel a little bit of an energetic lull. And to have a jolt of sugar, to have a jolt of possible caffeine, depending upon your caffeine tolerance there, it's not the worst thing in the world. So while in the half, we don't really have to worry about that carbohydrate depletion, I think you can use that workout nutrition to really try to balance out an even energy level from start to finish over the course of the total race. So I thought it'd be worth kind of sharing a typical pre-half marathon morning routine that I certainly would use for myself. I would recommend to others. And it's going to start about 3 to 4 hours before the race. So about 3 to 4 hours out from race start is when I'm going to have a very light breakfast. And when I say light breakfast, this is going to be for the half marathon, quite light. Not for the marathon, it would be something different. It'd be something a little bit more filling. But for For the half marathon, I'm probably looking at a single piece of toast, maybe with a little bit of peanut butter, half a bagel, etc. Something that's maybe like 200 to 300 calories total. And the reason is I just don't need that much fuel. I don't want a heavy stomach going into the race. The intensity of the half is going to be obviously higher than the intensity of the full. And so that's what I'm going in with, is something quite light there. Around 90 minutes pre-race, I'm gonna be looking at just sipping on fluids, so a little bit of water, potentially a little bit of sports drink, and if it's a hot or a particular humid day, this might be the moments where I'm taking in kind of my final bits of electrolytes or electrolyte beverage right around that 90-minute marker. 60-minute pre-race is where it's kind of my hard stop, where I'm not taking in any more fuel. I'm also not taking in any more fluids. And the reason is that I, once again, want a nice, like, kind of light stomach at the start of the race. I don't want to be digesting fuel kind of going at the start. And two is I want to time that porta potty stop as close to the race start as possible, so that I'm not looking at any kind of having to stop early in the race, middle of the race, etc. You don't want to stop during the race. That's sort of the point of that there. In the race itself, I think the kind of original standard for gels is about every 45 minutes. Now I think it's a little bit really ranging from every 20 to 45 minutes. So if you're new to gels, you haven't used them to supplement a lot in the past, every 45 minutes is a great spot to start. There are some digestion concerns that come along with that, so you need to practice it in training. And now I think you're seeing a lot of the top performing athletes that are taking in gels at a much more rapid pace than we ever thought possible before. So getting to about as much as every 20 to 30 minutes at kind of that max end of the process. That's going to get you, 300-400 calories over the course of an hour in terms of gels. It's going to be somewhere in the ballpark of around 60 to 80 grams of carbohydrates. So those are people that are doing it at a very high level. So once again, if you're coming into intra-workout nutrition, you want to start at the back end of that. Every 45 minutes is a great spot to start, especially for a race. Once again, no carbohydrate depletion concern here, but you could certainly, in training, start to work your way up a little bit over the course of time though. Once again, using water from aid stations only, drinking to thirst. I think drinking to thirst is the best way to gauge this as part of the process. I wouldn't do anything that's kind of a prescribed drinking. I would make sure, drink when you're thirsty, and if you're not thirsty during the half marathon, I think you're okay to not drink as long as you come in well hydrated, and similarly hydrate again on the back side of that. Hopefully that helps. And otherwise, that'll be all here for our week 4 briefing. I appreciate you naturally being here on a Friday night. Can't wait to see you next time. Have a great one.